Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV, episode 79. It really is episode 79 this time. We were off last week with the numbering. But welcome to episode 79. We got some positive feedback on our new format last week, so we're going to continue with it until we don't get positive feedback, and then we'll change it again. But we'll kick things off with comic news. War is coming to Marvel. Marvel's been sending out teasers all week with War, with different characters on it, or showing Captain America's shield with some blood on it, Thor's hammer broken on the ground, Iron Man having 2 bullet holes in his armor and his helmet. I'm not really sure what is going on, but the rumor mill is stating that this could be the beginning of the Ultron War, which Brian Michael Bendis has been alluding to in his current Avengers run, as well as the Free Comic Book Day Avengers book that was available this year. So, maybe we'll see the Ultron War come to pass. Supposedly, War comes in October.
Also just announced, Ed Brubaker, superstar writer, is leaving Captain America. He's been on the title for 8 years. That's since the new relaunch of Captain America with issue 1, taking you through the death of Cap, the return of Cap, some other stuff with Cap. But Ed Brubaker's Captain America book has been super awesome, and his last issue is going to be 18, which is, what, September?
Fall.
Yes, sometime in the fall. He's leaving. We are sad.
He's leaving to concentrate more on owned work.
So we are happy.
However, he is still going to write Winter Soldier over at Marvel.
So we are sad? Wait.
Also this fall, September to be precise, DC Comics is publishing 0 issues. And if any of you are as old as I am, and you remember when they did 0 Hour back in the 90s, this has nothing to do with 0 Hour. But there will be 0 issues commemorating the 1-year anniversary of DC, the New 52. So every DC Comics issue in September will be numbered 0. These will be standalone stories. Some of them will be origin stories for characters and teams. Some of them will fill in the blanks of questions that readers have asked about the New 52. But it looks like for the most part it's going to be the same creators staying on the books, just doing standalone 0-issue stories that take place in the past. And that sounds nifty.
So who at DC do I send my therapy bill to when I'm trying to organize the long boxes? And I have the zeros that should be chronologically up here, but they actually go down there, and I don't like it. I'm still not over 0 Hour.
Well, there was 0 Hour. There was Marvel's -1 issues. I don't know if you remember those. Yes, and now we have Marvel's .1 issues.
There were some half issues.
Half issues from Wizard. Craziness. You'll figure it out.
I don't know.
Okay. All right, well, we want to go through last week's top 5 picks. These are the 5 comics that Josh and I enjoyed the most, and we'll kick things off with SpiderMan number 2 by Brian Michael Bendis and Sarah Pichelli. SpiderMan number 1 did not make our list when it came out, but number 2 redeems the series. So I'm a big fan of both Amazing Spider-Man and Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, and was looking forward to how they were going to pull this off. And the first issue was just a lot of talking with nothing really happening. It was Spider-Man swinging through our Spider-Man, Peter Parker, our Spider-Man. I'm saying Miles Morales isn't our Spider-Man. Anyway, with 616 Spider-Man swinging through New York, proclaiming how much he loves the city. And then he ends up caught in some sort of time distortion or wormhole, some cosmic thing that sucks him into the Ultimate Universe. Now this issue number 2, is significantly better, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We get to see the Ultimate version of Nick Fury kind of interrogating the 616 Peter Parker. We get to see a lot of interplay between Miles Morales Spider-Man and Peter Parker Spider-Man, and it's setting the tone for what will hopefully be a great 5-issue miniseries between these 2 characters. I really liked it.
I also really liked it. Also new last week, and one of our favorites, American Vampire number 28 by some guy named Scott Snyder and some artist named Raphael Albuquerque. This is the first issue of the Blacklist story arc that picks up with essentially the original cast, Pearl and her husband. It was sort of teased a little bit at the end of the previous issue. You see that she's going to have to go back to Hollywood, and it's really, really good. We're set up to, what, 50s now?
1955.
Yeah, 55. So, it's been 35 years since the first arc, give or take. And you get to see the way the world has changed, the way the Hollywood society has changed and how she fits into it. And also, for most of the storyline, Pearl has been essentially running from her problems. She and her husband have been off trying to hide from the vampires. That's not so much the way it is now. Now she's actually taking the fight to them, and it's justifiable, it's believable. She has some unusual allies, and it's so much fun. It's entirely worthy of the legacy Scott Snyder's been building with the title, and I enjoyed the heck out of it.
It seems funny to use the word legacy on a title that is not very old, but...
That's issue, what is that? What is it? Is it 28?
Yes.
Marvel would have renumbered it by now.
The American Vampire Zero issue will be coming in September. No.
Yes.
It's just a whole, it's one of the best books, month in, month out, consistently. And the great thing about it is that if you missed any of the previous issues, you can go back and read the soft covers or the hard covers or track down the individual issues. But we can't recommend this book enough. I mean, Batman, the other big book that Scott Snyder is writing, at least in our store, sells 3 to 4 times as many copies as American Vampire. We should see that number increase for American Vampire, so please. We plead with you. We beg you. Scott Snyder begs you. Pick up American Vampire. Give it a shot. This is a great point to jump in, but I'd go back and pick up Volume 1 and move forward from there. Also, before Watchmen, Nite Owl #1, we kind of knew this was going to be on the list. We talked about it last week. All the other Before Watchmen books have been on our list since they've come out, at least the first issues. And this is written by J. Michael Straczynski with artwork by the team of Andy Kubert and Joe Kubert, with a heavy helping of Joe Kubert. It's supposedly penciled by Andy and inked by Joe, and it looks like it was drawn by Joe. Which, if you're a Joe Kubert fan, that's great. But you can definitely see the Joe Kubert influence on the pages. And this focuses on Nite Owl when he was 17, 18, right?
He was a teenager. I'm not sure they give you exact age.
He's probably in his mid to late teens, and he's a huge fan of the original Nite Owl, and it's kind of like a Tim Drake story in a way. He hunts down Nite Owl and breaks into his lair and leaves him a note about a meeting to prove that he can, and he wants to work with him. He wants to build gadgets for him, and he wants to be his sidekick. And it's a great buddy book, and you see stuff that you see in the original Watchmen story as well as the movie. You get to see Rorschach and the second Nite Owl kind of meet and team up, and the beginning of the Minutemen, or not the Minutemen, the beginning of the
Crime Busters.
The Crime Busters. And it's really good. Most everyone that we've talked to that's picking these up has enjoyed them. And again, there was a lot of controversy at the beginning, but if you're looking for good stories, if you like the characters in Watchmen, if you like the movie Watchmen, you absolutely should be picking these up.
And other pick from last week is Amazing Spider-Man 688. This is the first full issue coming out of the Ends of the World storyline. And I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. It has the Lizard in it, which I'm sure is an amazing shock since the Lizard's going to be in a movie next week.
And it's on the cover.
Comic. Yes, the Lizard is on the cover. You've got Peter once again dealing with, or trying to deal with, Morbius and his position at Horizon Labs, which he's not a huge fan of. He's assaulted Michael in his lab at least once, and he may or may not do that again this issue. It's really good. My initial reaction was a little negative because of the tie-in nature to the movie, kind of setting it up. But it very much comes out of the stuff Dan Slott has written. It picks up from where the Lizard last was, which was a terrifying, sad place where he killed his son, and it brings it up to where Peter is today, and it's just really solid. It was fun, adventure. I think Dan Slott works best when he's playing against our expectations of Peter, and this issue exemplifies that. And it's so much fun. Plus, you get to see more of the cool Max Modell's Horizon Labs crew, and you get to see them partying after being kind of the toast of New York for saving the world in End of Days. End of Days?
Ends of the Earth.
Ends of the Earth. Whatever. That book.
That movie is Schwarzenegger?
Yes, End of Days. It was great. I just love the idea of these nerds hanging out with models at parties and stuff. It's just cool.
It's his dream.
It is my dream. It's my dream to have been a doorway to yesterday, and Spider-Man was awesome.
And I have a feeling, we're coming up on Spider-Man's 50th anniversary, and there's some big stuff going on at Marvel. Dan Slott has said the 50th anniversary storyline, or the next arc, is the biggest, baddest, epic that he's ever done. And from the tone of this issue, I think Peter is starting to go on a little bit of a downward slide. We've seen not really happy-go-lucky Peter, but Brand New Day was fresh and fun, and Peter's starting to mope around a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen. It was awesome, though. Speaking of awesome, the best of the bunch this week was Manhattan Projects #4 by Jonathan Hickman and Nick Pitara. This series has been outstanding from the get-go, and somehow each issue is better than the one before. They started out way up here, and they keep going up. It's insane. But I can't tell you much about this book without giving away, some important plot points. Other than it's a book for science geeks, it's a book for history geeks, it's a book for comic fans, it's a book for everyone. I mean, really, when I was reading this, I thought, there are at least a half dozen people that are not regular comic readers that I know that I can give this book to, and they should enjoy it. And if they don't, I will punch them in the mouth. No. It's just, the artwork has improved each issue. The story is just so solid, and it's so much fun. I don't know what else to say, but you need to read Manhattan Projects. If you're not, you're missing out big time. All right, let's move on to this week's best bets. And the 800-pound gorilla this week is Batman Earth 1, the hardcover. It's an original graphic novel hardcover written by Jeff Johns with art by Gary Frank. You may recall that Superman Earth 1, the hardcover, came out in about 3 years ago, give or take. 2 years?
Fall of 2010.
Something like that. So almost 2 years ago. That was written by JMS, and we sold gangbusters on that, and everyone enjoyed it. It's one of our top-selling graphic novels of all time. So I have no doubt that Batman Earth 1 will also take its place alongside Superman Earth 1, if not surpass it in sales. So this is an original graphic novel. It's designed as an easy entry point for new readers, for casual readers. It's designed as fun and exciting for existing readers, and does not take place on the New 52 Earth or Earth 2. Now the funny thing is they named this Earth 1 before they did the whole new DC 52, so I don't know what the hell Earth this is now. It's not Earth 1, it's Earth something else. But it's Jeff Johns, it's Gary Frank, it's Batman. There's a Batman movie coming out in a few weeks. You're going to love it.
Something else we think you're going to love is Avengers vs. X-Men #7 coming out next week. You've got the team of Matt Fraction writing and Olivier Copiel drawing, who's awesome. You remember him from the Thor arc with JMS.
Or House of M or Siege.
Yeah, I like the Thor arc better, but the art was pretty. And he continues to do great work, and spoiler alert a little bit, at the end of the previous issues of AVX, Cyclops ended with a very specific sentence, "No more Avengers," a wording that is not by chance, and promises to see the Phoenix Five whooping on some Avengers this issue, and it's going to be awesome.
Before Watchmen continues to roll along with, I'm going to screw this one up, is it Ozymandias, or is it Osmandius?
Ozymandias?
Ozymandias? The guy with the blonde hair.
Ramses, right?
The guy with the blonde hair who dresses funny. This one's written by comic veteran Len Wein, who co-created Wolverine, by the way, among other things.
Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing. Yeah, he's a legend in the industry. And interior art and cover art by Jay Lee, who we don't see much from these days as far as interiors. He did the covers for Stephen King's Dark Tower adaptations over at Marvel, and has done a lot of other cool stuff. I remember back in my day, he did the pencils to an Iron Fist series that was coming out in the 90s, and it was awesome. But I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to Len Wein and Jay Lee and seeing what they can do with Ozymandias.
Also coming up on next week's Hot Plate, we've got Earth 2, Issue 3 by James Robinson, who you may remember from the previous issue of Earth 2. And this is where we get to see what goes on, because they've been kind of slowly reintroducing all of these members of the classic JSA, and the last issue ended with the marriage proposal between Alan and his boyfriend, and their train apparently going to their doom.
It's a cliffhanger.
My guess is somebody's going to get a ring. I don't know who, but
may or may not give him powers. I don't know.
It could just be a ring.
Yes.
But Earth 2 promises to be super awesome and is out next Wednesday, or this Wednesday.
And speaking of James Robinson, also next week, this week, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe #1 by James Robinson, of all people, and Philip Tan. I know that there is a huge fan base out there for He-Man. There's a demand for He-Man product, and apparently James Robinson likes He-Man, so He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Everything old is new again. Everything rolls around. Everything comes around again. But I am really curious. I'm a casual He-Man fan, and I am very curious to see what James Robinson does with the Masters of the Universe playground. So those are our best bets for this week. We do want to remind you, this Wednesday is the 4th of July. it is also New Comic Book Day, and we will be open. We will be open shortened hours, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., so not too crazy. But new comics will be here. You're going to be off. You're going to be on, doing barbecues and cookouts, and we'll be open before the fireworks and stuff. So come get your comics. We're also having a special one-day sale in the store, which you'll find out about in the newsletter and on the Facebook and the Twitterverse. So don't miss that stuff. So as always, thank you for watching, and keep reading comics.